Week 13 has Trap Week written all over it. Yes, we've got some great games that we're going to break down later this week. Indiana, Ohio State, BYU, Arizona State, Army, and Notre Dame in Yankee Stadium. But if just one of these games up here on the board, specifically one of the 4 games that features a ranked team, if just one of them results in an upset, the entire college football playoff race will be sent into absolute chaos. So let's go ahead and break them down and predict them. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. Our Week 13 predictions. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our holiday special, part of our expert picks, but the holiday special gives you all of our college football bowl game picks. Good note to have is that we have never had a postseason where we have had less than 60% of our bets hit. We have hit over 60% of our bets every single season that we have predicted college football bowl games. So you get all of those picks, the final 4 weeks of the NFL regular season, those picks there, and every NFL playoff pick as well, all combined into one package. The holiday special, the link for that down in the description below over on thegridironexpert.com, as well as all of our other exclusive offers and analysis that you can't get anywhere else. So link for all that, again, down in the description below over on thegridironexpert.com. So let's dive into this thing, man. I'm excited for Week 13. Again, it has Trap written all over it. I mean, these games here, a lot of these teams that could be on upset alert are going on the road. It's late in the year, in November. People are looking forward to championship games, the playoff. One team, that's all it takes. One team, all it takes to lose and send the whole world into a frenzy. We start in Gainesville, number 8 Ole Miss at Florida. The first time these two teams have met at Florida since 2015. Florida won that game 38-10. Should be noted that Ole Miss has not won in Gainesville, has not won in the Swamp since 2003. Again, they don't play each other there very often because back then it had the cross division, SEC West, SEC East, but still have not won in Gainesville since 2003. I think that changes on Saturday. The Rebels are playing for their college football playoff lives. They have so much to play for. Yes, Florida is playing for a bowl berth following their win over LSU, but playoff, bowl berth, they're not the same. Ole Miss playing for a lot more on Saturday, knowing that they cannot afford a loss. One more loss, and they are out, at least more than likely. DJ Lagway, though, he gives Florida a chance. Had 226 yards and a touchdown in last week's upset win over LSU. The question is whether or not he can have success against this Ole Miss secondary that ranks just 82nd in the nation, giving up over 229 passing yards per game. The bigger issue for me, though, is not the story of Lagway versus the Ole Miss defense, which is severely underrated. It's the fact that Ole Miss has one of the best offenses in the country, averaging nearly 540 yards per game, while Florida is giving up over 400 yards per game. It's the second-ranked offense in the country versus the 98th-ranked defense in the country, and I just ultimately think Ole Miss is too much. Jackson Dart is playing at a very elite level right now. The defense, as we mentioned, is severely underrated. If they can force a couple of mistakes off of DJ Lagway, Ole Miss will take advantage of that. They're not scared of the Swamp. It really works in Ole Miss's favor that this game is at an 11 a.m. kickoff and not a night game in the Swamp. I believe Lane Kiffin's squad gets it done. They win this game and all but ensure a college football playoff berth, while Florida has to beat Florida State in the season finale if they want to go bowling under Billy Napier. He saved his job, but would really make things feel a lot better if they can get to that 6th win. Number 4, Penn State at Minnesota. Maybe this is where the trap game happens, over in the Big Ten. The last time Penn State traveled to face the Golden Gophers, they lost 31-26. They have not won in Minnesota since 2010. But this Penn State team feels different. This team feels different. This offense is very, very potent, maybe more so than we've seen in years past. They're more balanced. Offense ranks 14th in the nation, averaging over 450 yards per game, 254 through the air, 200 on the ground. Drew Aller is playing phenomenal football, over 2,200 yards, 16 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. You got Katron Allen, you got Nick Singleton, you've got some great pass catchers, especially at tight end. Penn State's got the talent. Minnesota, meanwhile, is maybe better than their record shows. They're 6-4, a very solid defense, but the problem with the Golden Gophers defensively is that in 3 of their 4 losses this year, they've allowed at least 147 rushing yards. PJ Fleck's squad has struggled to stop the run. Penn State runs the ball extremely well. I don't believe that Minnesota is going to be able to take away the balance that Penn State has created and that we've seen them do time and time again this year. And additionally, even if they do that, how's Minnesota going to score? The Golden Gophers, yes, have improved a little bit in the passing game. They still rank 113th nationally in total offense. Penn State has the 4th best defense in the entire nation, giving up just 272 yards per game. Given the Nittany Lions with the win, it's close early on, but they pull away in the second half. Penn State remains undefeated, 1 win away from pretty much locking up a spot in the college football playoff for the first time under James Franklin. Over to the Big 12. Is this a trap game? Number 16, Colorado. These rankings, by the way, from our GE Top 25. Not the AP, not the playoff committee, from our own GE Top 25 rankings that you can find right here on the channel. Colorado, look, they're playing great football. What a turnaround for Deion Sanders and his squad. He got them at 8-2, legitimate Big 12 title contenders, legitimate college football playoff contenders. But Kansas, they're fighting, man. They've got to win out if they want to go bowling, and they've taken that to heart. They upset Iowa State, and then last week they upset BYU on the road at night in Provo. So they pulled off back-to-back upsets. They're looking for the trifecta and looking to make it a win-or-go-home situation for the Jayhawks next weekend. Both offenses in this game. If you love offense, this is going to be the game for you. They're electric. Colorado, as we know, has Shedeur Sanders, has Travis Hunter. They're 7th in the nation, averaging over 320 passing yards per game. Sanders has already thrown for over 3,200 yards and 27 touchdowns. Kansas, meanwhile, offensively, Jalen Daniels is getting better. Had a really rough start to the year. Seems to be hitting his stride a little bit over these last few weeks. But their running game is what really steals the show. They're 21st in the nation on the ground, averaging over 200 rushing yards per game. So with two great offenses, a great passing offense in Colorado and a great rushing offense in Kansas, where do the defenses stand? How do those two defenses face off against the strengths of the opposing team? Colorado is 57th in the nation against the run, allowing just 138 rushing yards per game. Kansas is 82nd versus the pass, giving up over 229 passing yards per game. I think this is a high-scoring game. I think it is a close game. I think Kansas, they have nothing to lose. You got to leave it all out in the field. Your season is determined over these last few weeks. Every game is determining your season, whether or not you might go bowling or might not. So Kansas is going to leave it all out there. They're going to pull out all the stops, all the tricks. I just don't think it's enough. Colorado is on a completely different level right now, not just offensively, but their defense. Very, very salty as well. Give me the Buffaloes to win a high-scoring game. I also don't trust Jalen Daniels, who has 13 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He's getting better, but still has issues sometimes taking care of the ball. Colorado forces at least one interception off of him. They convert off of it. The Buffaloes win, keep those Big 12 and playoff hopes alive, at least for another week. Wisconsin at Nebraska. Why is this game on here? Why? Because I think it's interesting. These are two teams that have pretty high expectations every single year, but the last few years have failed to reach those expectations. Both sitting at 5-5, and you can't help but wonder whoever wins this game clinches bowl eligibility and really avoids the stress of rivalry week. They avoid the stress of the season finale. Yes, they're going to look to win that game regardless of this outcome, but if you win this game, you're locked into a bowl regardless of what happens. If you lose, next week is a win or go home situation. And I look at this game here. Wisconsin has dominated the Cornhuskers ever since they joined the Big Ten. Wisconsin has won 10 straight games against Nebraska. They've only lost once to Nebraska in Big Ten conference play. And Wisconsin's maybe a better team than their record shows. They have a couple blowout losses here and there, but they've played these teams, some of them at least, competitive. They were playing Penn State relatively close at home before losing and getting pulled away in the second half. They nearly beat Oregon last week, only losing by 3 to the number 1 team in the country. They've lost 3 straight games, but Nebraska, they've lost 4. Nebraska started 5-1, but have lost 4 straight games, 3 of them by 1 possession. Still can't get over that hump and winning 1-possession games. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. Neither team has a great offense. Wisconsin ranks 91st in offense. Nebraska ranks 100th. Both average no more than 363 yards per game. Nebraska ranks 28th in total defense, though. Wisconsin ranks 33rd in total defense, but I'm siding with Wisconsin here. I like their defense just a little bit better. I like Braden Locke a little bit better than Dylan Raiola, who has just 2 touchdowns to 8 interceptions in his last 5 games with Nebraska. Wisconsin dominates Nebraska, as we've seen over the last 10 years. I don't think they dominate them necessarily on Saturday, but history certainly is on their side. Can't pick Nebraska to win until I finally see them do it. Give me the Badgers to win this game, clinch bowl eligibility, and the pressure is on for Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers in the season finale to get over the hump and get to their first bowl game since 2016. And then finally, in the SEC, number 7, Alabama at Oklahoma. Back in the preseason, we thought this game would be massive, right? We thought this could be a top 25 matchup, a game that had SEC title implications, a game that had playoff implications for both teams. And it has playoff implications, but only for one team, only for Alabama, right? This is still a very, very big game for the Crimson Tide, who really just need to win out, and they will make the college football playoff, even if they miss out on the SEC championship game. If they beat Oklahoma and they beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl, they're good to go, even if they do miss out on a trip to Atlanta. And look, I know this game's on the road, right? I know Norman's not the easiest place to play in the world, but Oklahoma's already lost by 10 to Tennessee at home. They've already lost by 26 to South Carolina at home. And now they're facing an Alabama team that's pretty much coming off a bye week, having beat Mercer by 45. A team that before that beat LSU by 29 points in Death Valley. An Alabama team that averages over 438 yards per game, led, of course, by Jalen Milroe. A team that, defensively has really taken off over these last few weeks under Kalen DeBoer. And that's really the big story here, right? The game could be close for a little bit, sure, but Alabama's going to pull away. And the reason why is because Oklahoma doesn't have an offense. The Sooners rank 117th in total offense this year, averaging just 326 yards per game. Alabama ranks 32nd in total defense, allowing just 324 yards per game. So Alabama allows, less yards per game on average than Oklahoma is averaging offensively per game. So I fully expect Alabama to pull out all the stops here. They know what's at stake. They know they have no room for error. And style points, man. The more you can win, the larger margin of victory you can win, especially on the road, it counts. The committee takes that into account. Kalen DeBoer knows this. His team is going to come in here rolling, maybe pun intended. Alabama wins by double digits over Oklahoma. And again, will be just one win away over Auburn from clinching a college football playoff berth and maybe a home game in the college football playoff in the first year under Kalen DeBoer. So there you have it, guys. Look, these are trap games. There's no doubt about it. The four ranked teams we have in action here are all having to go on the road against teams that could pull off an upset. Don't overlook Florida, Minnesota, Kansas, or Oklahoma. We're not picking any of them to win. Maybe that's my mistake. Typically when that happens, it ends up being a chaotic week, and 3 of these teams are going to lose. Who knows? I'm picking these teams to take care of business. I'm picking all of the road teams in these games to take care of business on Saturday. Let's see if we find out if we're right. Let's see if we're wrong. But again, if just one of them loses, it is a trap game. These are all trap games. If just one of them loses, the entire college football playoff race will be thrown into chaos. It will change the conference races. It will change the standings. It will change the playoff picture. And not just in a minor way, in a very big way, considering we're just a few weeks away from Selection Sunday. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our expert picks, our holiday special over on thegridironexpert.com. Do not miss out on those picks. Again, the link for that down in the description below. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.